Those are cheaper.
Okay, if you guys can turn to page 4, we're going to be moving slowly through this unit. So today we're going to be working on parabolas. Tomorrow we'll still be working on parabolas. We're going to be extending the algebra or the steps or the being able to get the parabola down to that standard form. So standard form is where you can pull the h, the k, and the p-value easily. But today we're going to be talking about how some of these equations are not quite in standard form. So we'll rearrange, go through completing the square to get it ready. And once we get it ready, then it's going to feel like yesterday where you're just gathering information. Like the p-value, the vertex, isosymmetry, directrix. Okay. So we have two forms here. You got the x minus h squared equals 4py minus k. If the x is squared, then you know that your parabola is either opening up or down. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. And then if your y is squared, that means you know that you're expecting your parabola to either open it to the right or to the left. So if you look at number 1, you see that it's not quite in standard form. But instantly, just by looking at the fact that the y is the one that's being squared, you know that you're ultimately trying to get this second form to, or the equation to look like this second form. Okay. So what we want to do first is, because you know that your y is the one that's squared, you want all the y-related variables on the left side. Okay. So basically, whatever is squared, that's the variable that you want to leave on the left side. So y squared is already on the left side, but let's go ahead and move that 2y over, and we'll make the 12x and 2y swap places. Okay. Okay, so we're beginning our steps to make our function or make our parabola look like this form. So we put the y's together. So I'm subtracting the 2y over to the left, and I'm going to move everything else on the right side. Okay. Now this is still not quite looking like what we have that we want. We're going to have to go through and we're going to force this to factor. Okay, but we're not going to take the GCF out. We're going to create a third term to allow this to be a binomial squared. So this is where completing the square is going to come into play. Okay, so next step, you're going to add an empty space on the left side, and you're also going to add an empty space on the right side. Okay. We're going to fill that space with a number that will allow for factoring to occur. Anything we do to one side of the equation, we're balancing out on the other side because we don't want to change the overall equation. We just want the left side to work out to be a specific form. 1 second. Okay, so now the next step is finding what goes inside that space. So the formula that we're going to use is this b over 2 squared. Okay. Now the b value is going to be the number that's in front of the y, so it'll be 2. So if we go through that process, or -2, really we can ignore the negative because we know that ultimately the fact that it's being squared, it'll just still end up being positive. But we can do that. What's -2 over 2? Yeah, and what's -1 squared? 1. So that's going to go inside the space. Whatever you put on one side, you're also going to put on the other side. And these values will always be positive. Okay, always be positive. Okay, so now factor. What multiplies to 1 and adds it to be -2? Yeah, -1. So now that you have y minus 1, y minus 1, we can merge them together. And now we can get that left side to be closer to that standard form. Okay, the right side, I'm going to clean up a little bit. Now, the right side, you're not going to factor a binomial square like the left side. The right side, you're just going to take the GCF out. So what's the GCF?
12.
Good, negative 12. So you want to make sure that that x is a positive inside. So make sure if there's a negative that you take that out. So negative 12 comes out, x, good, plus 1. Okay. We can always double check. If I distribute the negative 12 through, I should end up with what I started with. Negative 12x minus 12. Okay, so it's always good to double check and make sure that we haven't accidentally changed the sign when it's not necessary. So now, perfect match, right? Now we can, just like yesterday, we can pull the vertex, okay, find the p-value, sketch your graph, and what you found can now go under that standard equation line. Okay, so now we're going to go through the steps like how we did yesterday. Okay, same steps. Okay, so y is squared, and there's a negative. So how is the graph? How is the parabola going to open? Up and to the left. Yeah. So you see y squared. Y squared is going to be either left or right, and then the negative is going to help us narrow down that option. Okay, so we know the graph is going to open to the left, just so that we have some frame of reference. You know your focus is going to be on the inside to the left, and then your direction is going to be to the right. Okay. Next up, find the p-value. So find the p-value. We set the negative 12 equal to what? Yeah, 4p. Okay. What's the vertex? Negative 1, 1, right? You follow the x first and then go to the y. Negative 1. The h is always with the x, and the k is always with the y. And you always take the opposite sign of what you see inside the parentheses. Okay. Once you have your vertex, you know you can move to the left and to the right to get to your focus and your directrix. In this case, we're going to move left to get to that focus. And you'll move right 1, 2, 3, to get to that directrix. Okay. Once you plot that point, you can locate that order pair for your focus. Directrix is not going to be a point, but it will kind of help you know where to draw that vertical line. What's the equation of this line? X, yeah. Vertical line is x equals, okay. Axis of symmetry is going to split your parabola in half. It's basically going to go through all 3 points there. Now, yeah, now it's y equals, yeah, y equals 1. Okay, focal width. Except we're going to just make whatever number you see out here positive, yeah. Okay, once you have your focal width, then you know you're going to just go up and down. You're going to divide this 12 by 2 because you want the full length to be 12. So because you're starting in the middle, you're going to only count halfway. So go up 6 and you go down 6. Having that focal width is helpful because now you kind of know how wide your parabola is going to go. And once you can get to that point, then you're just going to follow that that path. Try your best just to make your parabola smooth. Okay, any questions with 1? Yes.
How did you find B?
Okay, so the B value is always going to be in front of the variable, in this case, y to the first power. So the A is 1, the B is -2, in this case, the C is 1. So once you locate your B value, then -2 over 2 is -1, -1 squared is 1, so that's why we enter that as 1. Okay, any other questions with 1? Okay, number 2. You see the x is being squared, so you know that ultimately you're trying to get it to look like this. And it looks like all the x's are already together. But let's just see if we need to do anything with that 25, right? Let's just go through this process here, see if, what's the b value? 10. 10 over 2 is 5 squared is 25. So it's already showing the perfect number for us to factor. So in this case, we don't have to find a new number and fill in the blank. It's already showing there for us. So we can leave the complete the square alone and just go directly into factoring because we know this will work out nicely. Okay, so there's no need to add spaces if that number is already fit for binomial squared. Okay, so multiplies to be 25, adds it to be 10. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to merge those two parentheses together, the next step, but the right step, or the right side, we can go ahead and take our GCF out, which is, say it again. What's GCF? -8, yeah. Make sure you change the sign inside as well. Double checked. Distribute the negative through. -8 times y is -8y. -8 times -3 is 24. Okay, matches nicely with the first formula here. So just to make sure that we're on the right track, how is this parabola going to open? Down. Yeah, x is squared. You know it's either up or down. The negative is going to tell you to match with that downward orientation. Okay, go ahead and see if you can finish off number 2. Try number 2. All right, check number 2.
So why is it pointing down again?
Well, the x is squared, so we know it's either up or down. And then we look at the right side here. Basically, it's the p-value. If the p-value is negative, it's going to be opening down. If it's positive, it's going to be up.
Okay.
So a positive p-value will always give you either up or right. A negative p-value will give you down or left. Okay, any question with 2? Number 3, just to kind of start you off on the right step, divide everything by 3, and then treat it like you would number 1. Okay, start rearranging your equations. Notice how number 3, the x is squared, so which formula are we trying to make it match towards? Yeah. So that means you want to get all your x's together on the left side and everything else on the right, and then begin complete the square process. Okay, the x is squared, so I want the x's to be together. And then everything else on the right side. All right, are we okay with rearranging it to this step? Find your b value, insert into the b over 2 squared. What's the b value? Yeah. Okay, factor the left side, combine like terms on the right, and then GCF on the right. Okay, how's this graph going to open? Up, yeah, x is squared. You know it's either up or down. The positive 10 tells you you're going to get a positive p-value, so it's going to open up. Okay, go ahead and finish off this problem. And your classwork is just page 5, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, finish off number 3 and start page 5. Okay, so basically, as you're rearranging your equation for parabola, you know that whatever is squared is going to be on the left side. And also, you want whatever is squared to be just 1 x squared or 1 y squared. We don't want any leading coefficient in front of the x squared or the y squared. Does anybody still need to look at number 3 here? Okay, 3 minutes, okay. Everybody good with this page? So this is what I did for number 1 on page 5. I just made them switch sides. I made the 3y squared plus 6y on the left side because ultimately I know it's going to be on the left side. I'm just going to make that right side the left and the left side the right side. And also I'm going to divide everything by 3 just to ensure that my variable squared is on the left, and also to ensure that I'm going to be left with y squared to the first power. Okay, start there. Okay, thank you. Okay, everybody okay with number one? All right, try number 3. What can we do? Yeah, let's get that y squared down to be, or that 2y squared down to just be y squared. We can divide everything by 2, so we can ensure that the y squared is just no coefficient except the 1 in front.
Bless you.
Oops. Not that. Done. Okay, I'll come by and check your pages 4 and 5 in a few minutes.